Hi, my name is Shabnam Tashakor, and I'm a teacher at Nancy Campbell Academy. I wanted to introduce you to Catherine McKenna, who recently visited our school. Catherine is the founder and CEO of Nature Solutions, Canada's former Minister of Environment and Climate Change. She has founded the Women Leading on Climate organization and runs a podcast on this issue. She's the author of Run Like a Girl, which is a memoir about ambition, resilience, and fighting for change. Catherine began her journey not as a career politician, but a legal professional who worked on international trade and human rights. At NCA, we might characterize her as someone who is a thoughtful protagonist who, throughout her life, right from the days of her youth, observed the realities of what is happening in the world and used all of her talents and abilities to try to make it a better place.
Hi, I'm Cass. I thought it was very thought provoking, and I liked her opinions on how to navigate a world that is always changing and how to take the advantages you're given in life and make something good out of it.
This was a really lovely experience. It was really amazing to see somebody speak about all the stigmatism that lies in our current um, society, and especially the judicial systems when it comes to gender equality and the biases that lie around that. I think it was also really powerful to see as a graduate moving on into hopefully studying all these like political things, being able to see somebody talking about how indifference and ignorance are some of the biggest forces of oppression in our current systems.
Hello, I'm Naz, and honestly, today was wonderful. I love Catherine so much. She's one of my biggest inspirations because she's someone that I want to become one day. And I love the experiences that she had, all of the jobs that she worked at, and just traveling the world, honestly. It was wonderful and a wonderful experience to talk to her personally. But yeah, thank you.
Catherine, welcome. Thank you so much for taking time to talk today with us in your busy schedule. I just wanted to go back. We had a gathering a few weeks ago when you came to Stratford to do your book tour with some. It was wonderful that you gave the opportunity to students from our three high schools to gather together to hear your story and ask questions. And I had some of their comments and questions here I wanted to share, but I wondered if you wanted to share any impressions of that meeting.
I'll say it was super inspiring. It was amazing to see so many young people who, are, like I was when I was young, you're just trying to figure things out. And so we had I thought it was a really great conversation. Hopefully, some of what I said resonated. I did hear from some of the students that they really liked that I emphasized that I didn't have everything figured out and that life is a journey and you can draw strengths from a whole wide range of places, including for me, it was as a swimmer. And it wasn't always school, that gets you places. It's being resilient and working hard, and you can learn that from a lot of different places. Anyway, it was really great, and a lot of the kids also talked to me about how much they care about climate change and acting on that. So I thought it was really awesome conversation, and hopefully it leaves young people feeling inspired because I think it can feel sometimes really hard with the climate crisis and with AI and living through COVID, and then the everything that happens online and social media. So hopefully it makes them feel like, they're going to be able to, maybe one day if they want to be, they could be Minister of Environment and Climate Change too.
Yeah, awesome. One of the students wrote this. It made me realize there are tons of ways to navigate through career. Passion and the will to make actions are the essential things. And there were a
I
few.
think that is totally true.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
kind of
true.
what you shared, really. Uh, I think a lot of students found inspiration in your life experience. But I wanted to share another comment that someone made. They said, I really like the statement you made, become a politician or whatever, because you want to do something, not to be someone. It's inspiring to see someone live by that example and act, not just simply say things to be something. Thought that was really moving. And there was a point that a number of
Oh,
students.
that's nice. I mean, I think it kind of applies to so many things in life. Like it's not your title. It's actually, are you actually making positive change? Are you, doing good things? And so that's good. I mean, that was my motto in politics, just, be there to get things done. And when I left, I felt like I'd done what I'd come to do. So it was okay to leave then too.
There was one student who shared about what they want to do. I'll just share it with you. They said, "Thank you for sharing your story. I'm a landscape architecture student who wants to change the way people think about design and landscape. For hundreds of years, more traditional ideas of landscape design have strived for control and beauty, but neglected to account for ecological impact. My goal has always been to make designs that are both for people and animals and all the things we consider wilderness. Your story has made me feel very encouraged to continue to pursue this goal, no matter who tells me I can't. Hope I can make a difference and help reduce biodiversity loss."
That is amazing. I'm sure whoever that student is that you absolutely can. And I think people's idea also of beauty changes. And so like I always laugh, like, I meet with people, they're so excited to show me, their butterfly garden, how they're attracting butterflies or how they're rewilding. And I think that those are really amazing and they're also very beautiful places. So good luck.
There was another comment. This was really touching. They said, "I liked how you talked about doing hard things. I liked how you talked about hard things being hard because they are, and I'd like to think that I try a lot of hard things, but often I failed or stopped halfway through. What advice would you give to a young person struggling to do hard things?"
Yeah, I mean, when I said that, it's not even like you're deciding to do hard things, which is great. But sometimes these are things that aren't your decision, right? It could be like your parent gets sick, and that's just hard. Like there are a lot of different things that will be hard. It could be a class that you just can't get through, like whatever, you're really trying hard and you're not doing well. And I think a lot of that is just to understand that life isn't always going to be easy. And you see sometimes in social media, life is amazing. No one's life is amazing. And there will be challenges, and you can't get around that. Like sometimes you just have to just you buckle down, and do the best you can. You may not be amazing. It may not go the way you wanted it, but it'll actually make you tougher, in the next hard situation. But when I used to say that to my team, so we would be, when you're a minister, you don't have a lot of easy things that come on your desk, and you got to make some tough calls. And people say, "Oh, some of the people on my team would sometimes say, well, oh, that's really hard." And the answer, I mean, it's such a truism, but hard things are hard. That is just, there's no way around it. There are no shortcuts. There's no way you can make it easier. You're just going to have to make a decision and do your best. So I hopefully that inspires people, yes, to try hard things, but also when hard things happen to you, to just realize that is part of life. And you just have to, wake up the next morning, just do your best, and sometimes it won't work out that well, and sometimes it'll be more amazing you ever thought, but hard things are hard.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the nature of life. There's another comment. You spoke about progressing problems of social media and also about your own limited knowledge of climate change when you were first elected. My question is, how did you work around headline media to learn about climate change?
Well, I mean, in my job, I had to really learn things pretty quickly because I would be, having to go into negotiations internationally or negotiate with provinces. And it was clear what I needed to get as a goal. We needed to reduce our emissions, but how you get there can be there are many different ways, and it can be complicated to do it, that you actually don't just have a high level goal, you actually do it. And so, to be honest, I just listened to a lot of people. So I was lucky that a lot of people were very generous, and that included Indigenous peoples who have often a different view on what is important to them. And they live often, they're a lot closer to the land than others. And part of it was listening, part of it was doing a lot of reading. Yep, I did a lot of reading. And part of it was trying things. And sometimes we tried things and they didn't work out that well. And then we just went back to the drawing board. So, you're not going to get, things that are difficult to do are going to take a while to figure out. And, but often there were very generous people. I found people that were was really generous in with their time to explain things to me or give me advice, which was great. But at the end of the day, buck stopped with me because I was minister, so I had to make tough calls and do my best.
Yeah, thank you. Someone asked, what are the most important things for climate change that as young people we should try and do?
I mean, look, I think there's so many, the good news and bad news is there's just so many ways that we need to act to protect the planet and tackle climate change. And so whether it's nature, and making sure that we're protecting more nature, or it's, holding fossil fuel companies to account, because this is a lot of the climate crisis is really largely a fossil fuel crisis. So these big oil and gas companies need to clean up their own pollution. They need to be held accountable for that. And there's different ways you can do it. I mean, you can work in your community. Like, even I've seen lots of young people, they will do plastics cleanup drives, or they will have, to deal with fast fashion, which is a big issue for climate change, where everyone's just, buying a shirt and then by next day buying another cheap shirt. They will have like a clothing drive, so you can go in and pick out some of your friends instead of getting something new, which actually is kind of fun too because it saves you money. Um, or you can be, marching in the streets. Demonstrating actually does have a real impact. I remember with the prime minister when we would see the marches, often led by students, climate. Those are the Greta Thunberg, Fridays for the Future marches. He would look and say, "Oh, we need to do more on climate." And I say, "Yeah, we absolutely do," because it was very clear that young people and the people who are marching wanted to see more action. So I think there's a whole range. But look, if you're a business person, like you're business minded, you could create you could sell some new interesting products that'll, help reduce their emissions. Or you're an engineer, you can, some technical solutions. So I think there's a lot of different ways. So I don't think people should feel limited. You can work on policy if you want to go into government. So there's lots of different ways. It really is, where's your interest? And where do you have some skills that are going to be useful? And that's, there's a lot of different ways to contribute.
There was another student who said this. Thanks for coming to speak with us today about your story and sharing advice for continue to make change through adversity. How do you maintain a hopeful outlook on our future while being aware of all the issues that have persisted for decades with little or no change for the better?
Look, it is hard some days. Some days I'm feeling discouraged because it feels like we're going backwards, on climate action. But we have the solutions. And everyone cares about clean air and clean water and animals and nature. So I just feel like we just have to keep on going, scaling these solutions, whether it's wind energy or solar energy or electric vehicles or more energy efficient houses. But we also, we can make a difference. Like, that's the thing. We can tackle climate change. It's not going to be easy. So you got to keep on working at it. So I just wake up the next day and say, I got to do more. And that's what keeps me going. And it's not just up to me. Obviously, there are many, many people working on it, and it's going to take a while. So it's also feeling like, it's all not all on me, that I've got to do my part, but so are so many other people.
Yeah, I think something we've seen at our school, which has a real focus on service in the community, is that there are three protagonists that work to bring change: individuals, the community, and institutions. And the more that those three become more collaborative and reciprocal and reinforcing of each other, the more powers are released for making change. So as our students go out and just even talk to people or talk to people in institutions, they start to see, like, actually a lot of people are making effort. A lot of people do exactly care about the very things you say. And their, like, kind of false conceptions fall aside, and they realize, like, there's a lot of strength to build on. And we have to kind of
Yeah.
really power up these three protagonists and work to build on each other, because it is a long-term effort. I wanted to just maybe, I think your time has come to almost close, but I wanted to ask you, you had some really thoughtful things to say about your impression of this younger generation and the characteristics that they have, and the unique contributions they can make. And I wondered if you could close by sharing what you've seen in the young people in our country, and the unique characteristics they have that maybe previous generations don't have.
Well, definitely way better on technology than me. I see that with my kids, and they're able to do really amazing things, which is great and can also be really useful. But I think more generally, I mean, some of it is tough lessons, right? Like having grown up with the climate crisis, often you don't have to convince young people that it's an issue. That this is their future, so they want to be working on it and they are thinking about it. But I think also, just being able to imagine a different world, like where it is more fair and there are more opportunities and where everyone can get a job. And I think we need to keep that and really think about what is it that we want. And I think young people are more focused. Sometimes adults, yes, we need money, but at what cost? Like, what kind of life are we going to live? You can be really rich and really unhappy, or you can have a lot of people, you're rich, and a lot of people who aren't rich around you. And that's the real problem. And I just find that young people often are quite, they think about these issues and they really do want to make a difference. But like me, often, you're young and you don't know exactly how to do it. So, I mean, it's also caring, but it's experience, getting experience, and then looking for opportunities to make a difference. And I think young people are really well suited to do that because I don't think people think they're going to have just one career or one job. And so there are all these different opportunities to reinvent yourself and to think about what your next job will do, to advance things that you really care about. So I have a lot of hope in young people. I've seen them. They've been the ones that have pushed a lot harder when it came to climate action. They were the people, young people in the streets. They're the ones asking questions about, why would we give money to big oil and gas companies? And why aren't we doing more to ensure, more people have houses over their heads or young people have jobs? So I think that's really important. Young people should continue pushing. And you won't always be young. So then you got to do things, you've got to, maybe build things better, and take different approaches from the older people. Not everything has worked. That is for sure.
Thank you so much. I'll just maybe end with this comment and let you say a last thing. It's this person said it was amazing to see a person carry themselves with both strength and emotion. You embody what it means to be a powerful woman who leads with conviction, intelligence, and humanity. I appreciate that you do not hide your full range of emotions in spaces where women are often expected to do so. I think there were a lot of comments like this where people were very grateful for your generous sharing and your life experience and your insights, and it really provided inspiration for the young people who attended the meeting to go forward. And one comment was, "I pinky promise to make a difference."
Nice. We should all pinky promise. The young people who did pinky promises with me, when I was minister. I know they're living up to their promise. So we should all do pinky promises to hopefully, do our part to tackle climate change, but also just to build better communities. But anyway, it was really awesome. I loved all the young people I met. Everyone's so passionate. So if I did a bit of inspiring you, we'll keep it going, pay it forward, and yeah, we just all are in this together. It doesn't matter your age, you can still make a really big difference. And you can also change opinions of people who are older as well, including on the importance of tackling climate change. So just keep on keeping on.
Thank you so much, Catherine. I know you're on your way to Singapore tomorrow. We're really grateful for you.
No, it's okay. It's great. No worries. All right.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye.
Bye.